The battlefield was quiet now. Smoke rose from the broken ground. The sounds of lasers and screams were gone. All that remained were dead bodies and metal scraps. Evidence of another forgotten war on a faraway alien planet. Among the wreckage, something moved. It wasn't much, just a twitch. A weak breath. A single blink from golden eyes covered in dust. She was still alive. The alien girl lay half-buried under a broken crate. Her skin, a soft mix of violet and gray, was bruised. Her legs were bleeding. Chains were still wrapped around her arms, like someone had tried to carry her as cargo. ... Or worse, she could barely lift her head. Her body was cold. Her heart beat. Slow, she had been left to die. Her own people had done this. Her clan, her family. They said she was too weak, too emotional, not useful for war. She begged them to let her stay, but they threw her to the ground and walked away during the attack. Now they were gone, and she was nothing until heavy boots crunched nearby. A shadow appeared. A tall human man in old armor stepped through the smoke. He was dirty, with a beard and a metal pack on his back. His name was Eli Voss, a scavenger who searched war zones for tech. To sell, he wasn't supposed to find anyone alive. He saw her. He froze. For a moment, neither moved. Just the wind blowing ash across the ground. Then she blinked. Eli slowly stepped closer, his hand near his weapon. Was she dangerous? Was it a trap? But the girl didn't move, didn't speak. Only looked at him as wide, filled with pain, and something else. Fear. No, it was hope. Eli knelt down. "You're alive," he whispered. She said nothing. He reached forward to touch her neck, checking for a pulse. It was weak, barely there. "You're dying," he muttered. He looked around. No ships. No one coming. He should leave. He had tech in his bag, and this planet was still unstable. Radiation storms could roll in any minute. But the girl's hand moved, just a little, as if trying to reach him. He sighed. "You're not even human," he said. "Why should I help?" She blinked. Slowly. Her lips trembled, but no words came. Something inside Eli shifted. He had seen many aliens in his life, fought some, saved a few. Most didn't care about humans, and most humans didn't care about them. But this girl, she wasn't a soldier. She wasn't armed. She was just left behind, like someone else he once knew. "Damn it," Eli whispered. Pulling off his cloak, he wrapped it around her carefully and lifted her into his arms. She was light, like she hadn't eaten in days. Her skin felt cold. She gasped softly, eyes fluttering open, confused. Eli said, "I'm not here to hurt you." As he carried her toward his ship hidden under camo netting nearby, he heard a quiet voice for the first time. "Why?" He stopped. Looked down. She was trying to speak. Her voice was dry and broken. "Why did you not leave me?" Eli didn't answer right away. He opened the hatch of his ship, walked inside, and placed her on a padded bench. He started scanning her with his medkit, hooking up an IV, cleaning the wounds on her legs. Then he finally replied. "Because," he said softly, "someone once left me behind too. I know how it feels." Her golden eyes slowly closed. She fainted. But for the first time in hours, her body didn't shiver. Later that night, as the ship hovered above the ruined field, flying toward the stars, Eli looked back at her. The chains were gone. The girl was resting, covered in blankets, breathing steady now. He didn't know her name. He didn't know what kind of trouble he'd just invited into his life. But he knew this. He couldn't walk away. Not this time, and far below, on the surface of the planet, something watched the ship fly away. An alien drone. With a red, blinking eye, it had seen everything. and it had already sent a signal. The hunt had begun. The ship was silent. Floating far. Above the ruined planet, inside, the small medical light buzzed softly. The alien girl, still wrapped in a warm gray blanket, slept on a narrow bunk. Her breathing was steady now, but shallow. Her skin looked pale under the flickering light. Eli? Voss sat across the room, leaning forward on a metal chair, elbows on his knees. He hadn't slept in hours. He just watched her. He didn't even know her name. All the scars on her arms and legs told a story without words. The burns, the bruises, the chain marks. Someone didn't just leave her behind. They punished her, and Eli kept asking himself, why would anyone do that to a girl like her? He rubbed his eyes and stood up, moving to the control panel. The ship's AI, a simple voice assistant named Grit, spoke softly. Vitals are stable. Recovery in progress. How long before she wakes up? Eli asked. 2 to 3 hours. Any bounty alerts? 1. Grit replied. My General. Warning, a missing alien female from the Trek clan. Considered disobedient. Dangerous. Eli frowned. Dangerous? He looked back at the girl. She looked more like a wounded animal than a warrior. She wasn't dangerous. She was scared. He walked back to the bunk and crouched down beside her. Who are you really? He whispered too. Hours later, her eyes opened. Golden. Sharp, but confused. She blinked slowly, staring at the ceiling, then at the walls. This wasn't a prison. It wasn't the battlefield. She wasn't chained anymore. She turned her head and saw him, the human. He was reading something on a data tablet, sitting in the same spot, looking calm, but alert. She tried to sit up. Pain shot through her chest. He stood quickly and held out his hand. Hey, easy. You're still weak. She stared at his hand, but didn't take it. Where am I? She asked, in a soft, broken voice. You're safe, he said. My ship, we're in orbit. Her fingers gripped the blanket tighter. You didn't leave me? No, he said. Why? That word again, like it was the only one she truly wanted to understand. Because you were still alive. He replied. She looked at him for a long time. I'm not human, I noticed. I'm not important. I don't care. She didn't know how to respond to that. Her people taught her that humans were cold, untrustworthy, violent, but this one had saved her, fed her, treated her like a person. What's your name? He asked. She hesitated. Kara, he repeated, nodding. I'm Eli. A silence fell between them, not uncomfortable, just new. She looked down at her arms. The bandages were clean. Her hands were free. For the first time in her life, she wasn't in chains. Why do you live alone? She asked quietly. Eli looked away. I guess I don't fit in anywhere. Kara's eyes met his. Same, they both shared something without saying more. Later that day, Kara tried to stand. Her legs trembled. She fell once. Eli caught her. You're not ready, he said. I have to get stronger, she insisted. Why? If they come back, I don't want to hide. Eli gave a soft smile. Then let's start slow. He showed her around the ship how the doors worked, where the food supplies were, how to use the med station. She listened carefully. She didn't talk much. But when she did, it was always honest. That night, she sat near the small window, watching the stars. She had always wanted to see the galaxy, but not like this. She spoke softly, almost to herself. I was born to fight. That's all my people said I was good for, but I couldn't kill. I froze every time. Eli sat down beside her. So they left you behind. They said I was broken. He nodded slowly. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're just different. She didn't know what to say. No one had ever told her that before. "Eli," she whispered, "if you keep me here, they'll come for you too." "I know," he said. "Then why are you still helping me?" He smiled. "Because no one helped me when I needed it. I won't be like them." Kara turned her eyes to the stars again. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't completely alone anymore. But while they sat inside the quiet ship, far away on another station, a bounty hunter looked at a blurry image, a human man carrying an alien girl. A price flashed on the screen: capture. Alive, kill the human, if necessary. The hunter grinned. "I'm coming for you." The ship floated in deep space, far from any patrol routes. It was quiet inside. Too quiet. Kara stood in front of the mirror in the small washroom, staring at herself. Her golden eyes were dull. Her cheeks were sunken. Thin scars covered her neck and shoulders. Some old, some new. She slowly pulled back the sleeves of her shirt. The chain marks were still there. Her skin had started to heal, but the damage was deep. Not just on her body, her heart, too. Her fingers gently touched. Her own face? "What am I now?" She whispered to herself. She didn't look like the warriors from her clan. She didn't look like the pretty alien girls shown in trader ads. She didn't look strong. She looked like a ghost. A thing left behind. Just then, the door slid open behind her. Eli stood there, holding a folded blanket and a small tablet. "Hey, found something in the system logs. Might tell us where your people went?" He stopped when he saw her. Kara quickly pulled down her sleeves and turned away. Her voice was flat. "Tio didn't knock." He looked guilty. "Sorry. I thought you were still asleep." She said nothing. Eli stepped forward, more careful this time. He placed the blanket on the side table. "That blanket's warmer than the old one. And I upgraded the room heating." Still no reply. He sighed and leaned against the wall. "Look, I know you're not used to being looked at, or talked to, or even helped." Kara's voice trembled. "I'm not." "Pretty." Eli blinked. "What? I'm not useful. I'm not like others. I was made to fight, but I failed. Now I'm nothing." Eli walked up slowly and looked her in the mirror. "You're not nothing. You're not a tool. You're not just a thing, Kara." Her eyes watered, but she didn't let the tears fall. "Then, what am I?" she whispered. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled out a small metal bracelet from his pocket. It was dented, old, and clearly human-made. He placed it on the sink. "My sister wore that," he said softly. "She was quiet, like you, strong in ways people didn't see." "What happened to her?" "She died," he said. "Left behind when I couldn't reach her in time." I swore. "If I ever got the chance to help someone again, I would." Kara looked at the bracelet, then at Eli, and for the first time, she didn't feel like cargo. She felt seen. Later that day, they trained in the cargo bay. Eli had set up a few old crates as obstacles. Kara, still weak, tried to climb over them. She slipped once, hit her elbow, and growled softly. "Take your time," Eli said, standing nearby. "It's not about speed, it's about control." Kara didn't answer. She just kept trying. Eventually, she made it over the last crate. She dropped down, breathing hard, sweat on her forehead. She looked at Eli. "I'm not strong, but..." "You're getting stronger," he replied. "I'm slow, but not useless." She tilted her head. "Why do you keep saying that?" "'Cause I know how easy it is to believe the lies others tell us." Kara sat on a crate. She wiped her face and looked down. "When I was young, my trainer said emotions made me weak, that if I cried, I'd fail. So I stopped crying." Eli nodded. "And what did that make you feel?" "Empty," she said. "That's not strength." He replied, "That's surviving. There's a difference. Kara looked up at him. Then, what is strength? Eli smiled gently. Helping someone when you don't have to. Feeling something and still standing. Not giving up even when you've been broken. She stared at him, her lips parting slightly. You really believe that? She asked. I do. He said, and in that moment, Kara smiled just a little. But far away, danger moved closer. A black ship, silent and cold, drifted through the stars. Its pilot, a bounty hunter named Resic, watched a glowing red tracker. It blinked faster now. He had traced the signal to this sector. The missing girl was nearby, and the human who stole her would pay back on Eli's ship. Kara sat alone in the control room, watching old Earth videos. Soft music played. She didn't understand the lyrics, but the melody made her chest feel warm. She had never felt warmth like this before, not from her clan, not from anyone, only from him. She looked at the bracelet on her wrist, the one that once belonged to Eli's sister. She held it tight and whispered, maybe I'm not a thing after all. But she didn't know that in just a few hours, someone was coming to remind her of the past she wanted to forget. Ara stood in the engine room, tightening a loose panel. Her hands moved slowly but steadily. Her strength was returning, little by little. Her mind, once filled with fear, was beginning to clear. She could now walk without pain, speak without trembling, but peace never lasts in the galaxy. Up in the cockpit, Eli leaned over the ship's scanner panel. A small red light blinked on the screen. A ship had entered their sector, marked silent, moving slow like a predator. Stalking prey, Eli's jaw tightened. Grit, identify that ship. No ID. Stealth class. Not registered in any known traffic logs. Eli stared at the blinking dot trouble. He walked quickly toward the back of the ship where Kara was working. She turned when she saw his face. What is it? She asked. We've got company. Could be random. Could be bounty. Kara's eyes changed immediately. The warmth disappeared. She stiffened, her voice cold. They found me. Eli nodded. Maybe. I don't know yet. Kara stepped forward. You need to leave. Drop me off on the nearest rock and jump to light speed. Now. Eli frowned. Not happening. You don't understand, she said sharply. They don't just capture, they erase. If they see you with me, I said no. Kara grabbed his arm. Her hand was shaking. You saved me once. Don't waste it now, please, Eli. Run. He looked into her eyes full of fear, but also something else. Desperation. She truly believed she wasn't worth saving again. That made his blood boil. You're not cargo, Kara, he said firmly. You're not a burden. And I'm not going to throw you away like they did. Kara opened her mouth, but no words came. Suddenly, the ship's alarm rang. Stealth vessel is now in visual range. Docking attempt detected. Eli ran to the cockpit. Through the front window, a sleek black ship hovered nearby like a shadow with teeth. No lights, no symbols. Just a glowing red eye at its center. The signal came through. Prepare for inspection. Cooperate or be boarded by force. Kara's face turned pale. That's Resic's ship. Who's Resic? Eli asked. A hunter, she whispered. He never leaves survivors. Eli grabbed his weapon and loaded a battery pack. Then we're not letting him board. Kara grabbed his arm. You don't have to fight this. He looked her dead in the eyes. No, but I choose to. The ship trembled as magnetic clamps attached to the docking hatch. Eli pushed Kara into a hidden compartment near the engine bay lined with energy dampeners. Stay here. No matter what you hear, do not come out. Got it? She hesitated. Eli. No hero moves, no sacrifices. Just hide. Kara nodded. Her golden eyes watched him disappear through the sliding door. And then she was alone. Her heart pounded as she listened to the airlock hiss open. Eli stood in the narrow hallway, weapon ready. His hands were steady, his breath slow. Resic entered tall, armored in dark metal, his helmet shaped like a hawk's skull. Behind him were 2 armed drones with glowing eyes. "Human," Resic said in a deep, almost amused voice. "You've picked up something that doesn't belong to you." "I don't know what you're talking about," Eli replied calmly. "An alien girl, Trek, blood. About this tall, wounded, scared, weak." Eli didn't move. "Haven't seen anyone like that." Resic stepped closer. "You know what they call traitors who protect her kind?" Eli smirked. "Yeah, brave." The bounty hunter raised a hand. One of the drones fired. Eli dodged, but the bolt grazed his side. He dropped behind cover and returned fire. Sparks flew. Alarms screamed. The ship shook with every blast. In the engine bay, Kara heard the fighting. She covered her ears at first, but the screams, the heat, it all came back. She saw flashes of memory, her clan leaving her. Chains. Fire. She couldn't stay hidden. Not again. She stood up and opened the hatch. Eli was bleeding from his shoulder. One drone lay in pieces. The other moved closer. Resic stepped forward, gun raised. "This ends now, human." Then a voice echoed from behind. "No, it doesn't." Kara stood at the hallway's edge, eyes glowing faintly, hands trembling but. Resic turned. "Ah, there you are." Kara stared at him. "You don't scare me anymore." "Brave words from a failure," Resic growled. "I'm not a failure," she said. "I was just waiting for the right reason to fight." She raised her hand. A sudden blast of glowing energy burst from her palm, striking the remaining drone and sending it flying into the wall. Eli stared, stunned. What was that? Kara didn't answer. She stepped beside him. "I told you to hide," he whispered. "I'm tired of hiding," she replied. "Let's finish this." The air was filled with smoke and sparks. The last drone crashed to the ground with a loud thud. Its metal parts twitched once, then stopped. Kara stood still, her chest rising and falling fast. Her hand trembled from the energy blast she had just released. Her body burned with the strain, but she didn't fall. Resic, the bounty hunter, was gone. He had fled through the emergency lock as soon as Kara's power activated. Even he knew when to retreat, but the cost had already been paid. Kara turned to Eli. He was slumped against the wall, blood soaking through his shirt. "Eli," she cried, running to him. He looked up, eyes dazed, trying to smile. "You finally joined the fight." Kara dropped to her knees. "Why didn't you move? I was covering you." "I thought I could hold them a little longer." She pressed her hands over the wound. "You're bleeding too much." "I've had worse," he whispered, but his face was pale. "No, not." "Because of me," she said, shaking her head. "You got hurt because of me." Eli reached up weakly and placed a hand on her cheek. "I'd do it again." Tears welled up in Kara's eyes. She had never cried in front of anyone before. Her people taught her it was shameful. But now, beside this broken human who bled just to protect her, she let the tears fall. "You shouldn't have to protect me," she whispered. He looked at her and said one word. "Why not?" Kara carried him to the medbay, her limbs shaky but firm. The ship's AI grit immediately activated the medical arm. Severe plasma burn detected. Beginning treatment. Kara sat by Eli's side as the robotic tools stitched his skin and cooled the wound with healing foam. She watched closely, her fingers clenching the edge of the bed. Eli winced and groaned. Softly, his eyes fluttering. "Still here. I'm not leaving you," she said firmly. He smirked, even in pain. Good hours passed. Kara sat alone now, Eli asleep beside her. She stared at his hand. The same hand that once gave her food, that pulled her from death, that had bled to protect her. She thought about running again. It would be easy. Quietly take the escape pod. Draw the bounty away. Let him live free. But every time she imagined leaving, she saw his face again. "I'm not just a thing," she whispered, echoing his words. "And you're not just a human." Eli finally woke later that night. His voice was hoarse. "You didn't run," he said. "No," she replied. "I couldn't." He smiled faintly. "You blasted that drone like it was nothing." "I didn't even know I could do that," she admitted. "I never tried before. Looks like saving my life helped unlock your hidden talent." He joked weakly. Kara smiled for the first time in hours. "I thought I'd never feel this," she said softly. "Warmth, safety." He turned his head. "Why did your clan really leave you?" Kara hesitated. "I was born during the eclipse. My people believe that makes me cursed. I wasn't aggressive like the others. I asked questions. I hesitated during training. I refused to kill prisoners." She looked down. "So they branded me useless. And when war came, they left me behind like garbage." Eli listened quietly. "But you," she said, looking into his eyes. "You never asked for anything. You didn't even know my name. Yet you helped me. Even now, you're lying here because of me." He chuckled softly. "Funny. I thought I was the lucky one." Kara blinked. "Why?" "Because after everything I lost, I finally found someone worth fighting for again." Her heart thudded dead. She reached for his hand, and for the first time, she held it not as a burden, not as someone broken, but as someone becoming whole. Meanwhile, in a dark hangar somewhere in the galaxy, Resic stood before a comm screen. The girl used unknown energy. "She's stronger than the report claimed," he said. The voice on the other end replied, cold and sharp, "Then double the bounty. Kill the human. Bring the girl alive." Resic nodded. "They won't escape again." Back on the ship, Kara sat beside Eli as he rested. She looked up at the stars through the window and whispered, "They tried to throw me away." Then she looked down at Eli's sleeping face. "But you gave me something to live for." The stars outside the ship burned brighter than ever. Kara stood in the cockpit, hands pressed against the control panel. Her eyes scanned the system. Maps, her mind racing. Her face looked combat inside. Her heart was pounding. Resic wasn't gone. He would come back, stronger, smarter, and next time he wouldn't miss. Behind her, Eli lay resting in the medbay, still recovering from the plasma burn. He had risked his life to protect her. Now, it was her turn. She wasn't going to let him down. Not now. Not ever. Kara tapped the ship's console. "Grit, show me hyperspace routes." "Available paths limited," the AI replied. "Fuel cells at 38%. Long jumps not recommended." Kara frowned. "What's the nearest unregistered station?" "Outlaw Station Delta 7. Mixed species, no official laws. Known for black market repairs and smuggling." Kara's eyes narrowed. "That'll do." She went to Eli's side. He was awake now, his voice low. "What's the plan?" "We're going to Delta 7, she said. "No one tracks people there." He chuckled. "That place? It's a pit." "Good. Let's hide in the pit for now." Eli looked at her carefully. "You're taking charge now." "I have to," she said. "You're injured. And I'm tired." "Of running?" He smiled weakly. "Didn't think I'd see you fly my ship." "I learned fast," she said simply. Eli nodded. Just don't scratch the paint. The ship rattled as Kara pulled it out of orbit. She guided it into a narrow hyperlane between gas clouds and drifting wrecks. She didn't panic when the readings glitched or when the engine hummed too loud. She flew with steady hands as if she was born for it. Eli watched her from the back, pride in his eyes. Not bad for someone who couldn't stand up a week ago. Kara smiled slightly. We're not done yet. Delta 7 appeared like a metal wound in space. Any old mining rig turned into a free market station. Dozens of ships floated around. It's some with no IDs, others armed to the teeth. As Kara landed, the ship's speakers hissed. Dock 13. No weapons drawn. No questions asked. They entered carefully. Kara wore a deep hood to hide her face. Eli leaned on her shoulder, limping slightly but alert. The station was loud, filled with strange smells, flashing lights, and creatures from over 30 systems. It was a place where laws ended and survival began. They found a mechanic named Knob, a one-eyed alien with grease on his tusks. He agreed to refuel the ship and shield the engine for a price. Kara didn't blink. She offered her old necklace, the last thing she had from her childhood. Eli tried to stop her. She shook her head. It means more if we survive. Later, in a quiet storage room, they borrowed a shelter. Eli sat on a crate while Kara patched his arm. You've changed, he said softly. Kara didn't stop working. Because I have to. No, he said, you could have run. You could have hidden, but you chose to fight. She finally looked at him. I saw you bleed. I saw you stay. I realized I don't want to be the girl waiting in the corner anymore. Eli touched her wrist. You're not. They shared a moment of silence. Then she spoke again. When this is over, I want to find others like me. Oh. The ones who were thrown away. The ones no one saved. Eli's eyes lit up. You want to start something? She nodded. A place where no one's treated like trash. He grinned. We'll need a better ship. Kara smiled back. Then we better not die. But outside, deep within the station's dark side, Resic had arrived. His ship cloaked in shadows. He walked the alleyways in silence. His helmet scanned every movement, every heat signature. He didn't care about the noise, the smell, or the danger. He was a hunter, and he had the scent now. Kara was here. Back in their shelter, Kara leaned back against the wall. She watched Eli fall. Asleep, his breathing calm now. The strong human who had once saved her was now being saved by her. She thought about her past, the cold eyes of her trainers, the voices that told her she was useless. The last moment when they pushed her out of the transport and left her to die. They had been wrong. She wasn't weak. She wasn't cursed, and she wasn't alone. Anymore, she held the pulse scanner in her hand, tracking nearby signals. The red dot flickered, a sign that danger was close. She whispered to herself, "Let them come," because this time she was ready. The station lights flickered as the storm outside tore through the outer rings of Delta 7. But inside Dock 13, silence filled the air. Kara stood alone in the engine bay of their ship, listening to the soft hum of the repaired reactor. She held a pulse scanner in her hand. The red dot on the screen moved again, closer now. Resic was on the station. She took a deep breath. No fear. Not anymore. She walked into the medbay where Eli sat. Oh, his arm bandaged and eyes still tired. They found us, she said quietly. Eli didn't ask how, didn't panic, he simply nodded and stood. Kara led him into the cockpit, handing him his weapon. She had already reprogrammed the defensive systems. The ship was ready. The shields were charged. She had even rerouted power to a hidden trapdoor under the floor near the airlock. Looks like you've been busy, Eli said. I had to be, she replied. We won't get a second chance. Suddenly, the outer door alert flashed red. Dock. Breach in progress. Eli took position behind the central panel. Kara walked toward the back and opened the access hatch, the one she had once hidden in. But this time, she didn't hide. She stood waiting, eyes locked on the door. The hatch exploded. Inward. Sparks flew. Resic entered, his black armor covered in dust from the storm, his red visor glowing. Behind him were two more bounty hunters, larger, silent, cruel. Kara didn't move. "Hello again, girl," Resic said, stepping forward. "You should have stayed dead." "I tried," she said. "You made sure of that." Resic raised a gun. "Step aside. You can still come quietly. Your people still want your body back." Kara's hands stayed down. "I'm not going anywhere with you," she said. "And I'm not property anymore." Resic took one more step. And that was his mistake. The floor beneath him lit up. Gravity trap. A flash of energy pulled Resic to the ground, slamming him hard. His weapon flew from his hand. The other hunters moved. Eli dropped one with a precise shot. Kara moved faster than she ever had before. She grabbed a metal rod from the wall and struck the last hunter. Across the head, he collapsed instantly. Eli limped toward her. "I think that's all of them." Kara turned to Resic, who was pinned under the gravity trap, his armor sparking. He glared up at her. "You think you're free?" he growled. "They'll never stop hunting you." She crouched beside him, her voice calm. "Then let them. Come. I'm not afraid anymore." She reached into his chest armor and pulled out his cum chip. Then she stood and dropped it on the ground, crushing it under her boot. "No one owns me now." The door sealed behind them. Later, in the medbay, Kara sat beside Eli as he winced from a fresh rap on his shoulder. "You're not bad in a fight," he teased. "I learned from the best," she replied, smirking. There was a long pause. Kara looked at her hands, steady, strong, not trembling anymore. "You once asked me who I am," she said softly. Eli turned to her. "I'm someone who was supposed to die. Someone they left behind. Come on now." She looked up, her eyes glowing softly in the dim light. "Now I'm someone who wants to live." Eli's eyes softened. "You gave me a reason," she added. "When I had nothing, you saw something in me." He took her hand gently. "You saved me too, Kara." Another pause, a quiet moment between two people who were once broken and now healing. A few days later, the ship left Delta 7 and drifted into open space. Kara stood at the front, watching the stars with a different kind of gaze. Not sad, not scared, but full of purpose. Behind her, Eli entered the cockpit with a data pad. "There's a message from a refugee group. They're helping abandoned aliens. They need volunteers. People who've been through it." Kara turned to him. "I want to go." He smiled. "Then we go." She walked over, placed her hand on the console, and for the first time, entered new coordinates herself. Her voice was calm and strong. "Let's find others like me, and let's show them that they're not alone." As the ship jumped into hyperspace, the stars stretched into lines, and the girl who was once thrown away now led the way forward.